What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith. Hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. But we are here for another edition of the Free Agent Series, going through position by position, looking at each available free agent, the Eagles' defensive line situation tonight, and the top 5 free agent targets. So we're going to be looking at the interior linemen, defensive tackles, nose tackles. We'll be looking at guys that can play in multiple systems. Then, of course, edge rushers, defensive ends, outside linebackers. Now, this is not a live video tonight, but I would love to hear your thoughts, who you would like to add, whether you're an Eagles fan, whoever you like. But look, there's some options here, and we're going to talk about the Birds, of course, their situation, and some people I think they could add dependent on this free agent situation. But got things all broken down, and the way I did it tonight, I went through, and a lot of these sites, they do not have these people listed correctly. So I went through every single depth chart of every team and had these guys listed where they were playing, so you can get a little feel for where these guys play. But there's also some versatile guys, so we'll talk about that. But I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Let's jump right into this. Let's start off with the full list of D linemen here. And look, we've got a plethora of them here. So let's take a gander. I know a lot of people get excited about the names here. You've got someone like Jadeveon Clowney, but there are plenty of names. And we're going to start in the middle with the big boys. And actually, you know what? Let me explain this before we do this, because we always have the exclusive rights guys and then the restricted guys. And I always end up having to explain it somewhere in the middle. But I'd like to just get that out of the way. The restricted guys, we talk about it all the time. If someone tries to sign them, the team doesn't match, someone has to then give them some compensation for them, draft pick of some sort, depending on where they were drafted, all that great stuff. And then the exclusive rights guys, these are guys that are under 3 accrued seasons. The other ones are over 3 accrued seasons. So exclusive rights guys pretty much have like a minimum contract dependent on their years played, and the team gives them an offer and they either sign it or they don't play for anybody. So exclusive rights, weird, but I want to explain that and I want to show you that. So let's take a gander at that first. Let's just get that out of the way. So those are the guys that'll be dealing with that. You pretty much, for the most part, don't see a lot of these guys leave unless the team's just like, look, I don't care, except for exclusive rights. They're still young, trying to figure things out. So we'll see what happens for those guys. You got Chris Odom there, bunch of other guys, but let's jump into the bad boys in the middle, the nose tackles, guys that played nose tackle for their teams last year. And look, the Eagles, I know a lot of you fans are going to be looking, in the sense of defensive linemen, but I don't think nose tackles are necessary. We've got Jordan Davis. Noah Ellis is coming back. And I think in the draft, we'll look at interior guys. We'll see what nose tackles we are impressed by. But let's keep it moving with defensive tackles here. Now, again, these are guys that are lined up in the middle, but some of them versatile, can play some defensive end in certain fronts. But you see one of those guys, Javon Hargrave. You've got Fletcher Cox. Look, Puna Ford, a nose tackle in there, a guy that, played D tackle too. So whatever. But Ty Shuttle, Armon Watts. You've got Derek Nottie, some other guys like Jordan Phillips, Matt Ioannidis. So a lot of talent for defensive tackle. And if the Eagles do not bring back the 2 you see there, definitely some options here, and there's a second list of the defensive tackles. And look, T.Y. McGill, you've got another ex-Eagle in Hassan Ridgeway. So got some guys there. You've got Ndamukong Suh as a free agent. And look, you saw Linval Joseph. So there are guys that maybe you bring back, but there are other options available. And then you have the defensive ends here, and these are guys that can play some defensive tackle as well. But these are predominantly in the odd fronts. You're seeing these guys play defensive end. We'll get into the edge rushers here more, but you could consider some of these guys edge rushers. But Zach Allen definitely stands out. You've got a lot of names here that you are familiar with in Flowers and Golston and Lowry, Gotsis, Draymond Jones out there, Jerron Reed, Ogunjobi. So look, there's definitely some options if you want to go for some of these guys. But I'm very interested to see. I know we're going to use some odd fronts, the Eagles, that is. So I think, you could definitely keep your eye on, some of these guys. But when it comes to edge rusher, we're all right. Interior, Milton Williams, very versatile. Can't wait to see who he does. But I definitely think you could be looking at this position here. But I would be keeping my eye in the draft. So hey, that's just my opinion. But let's keep it moving and get into the actual edge rushers here, defensive ends. And, these are guys that were playing predominantly in a 4-3 as defensive end. So more of your edge rusher, a lot of them versatile, can play outside linebacker and odd fronts. But look, Frank Clark not going to be back there, or Carlos Dunlap for Kansas City. Got Bud Dupree out there, Samson Ebukam, Leonard Floyd not coming back, Dante Fowler. So Al-Quadin Muhammad is not going back to the Bears, Yannick Ngakoue. So look, definitely some names to be, Chase Vinovich even. I think, there's definitely some names to be intrigued by there, but only for depth purposes would I be looking for the Eagles. I think we're all right there, but definitely some guys out there. And there's another list here, Banagu, somebody that, fell down the list. We talked about the familiarity there with Sirianni last year. Maybe he gets given a chance there as a backup guy. I don't. Nobody on this list really stands out to me. I know Robert Quinn was traded for, but for me, I know he knows Sean Desai, so maybe you bring him back, but I really don't know, man. He just, was a little banged up, getting older there, but hey, it is what it is. We'll see if they bring him back or not. But then you have your guys that were playing outside linebacker in odd fronts. So you've got edge rushers still here, but they can play defensive end as well. But just wanted to separate those guys. But you see JPP is on there, Justin Houston, Melvin Ingram, Terrell Basham, Jannard Avery, Arden Key. Definitely some intriguing options there. Kyle Van Noy, Oshani Zimenez, Dwayne Smoot, Malik Reed. So you got guys that definitely can play some D end. Definitely some versatility there, but that was it. That was the full list of all of the defensive linemen. And oh boy, was that very fun putting that all together. I literally sat there for hours trying to separate all of that, go through their depth charts, make sure I had the right list for you. Hopefully you enjoy those. Go through, check them out. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you like from those lists? Each of those lists, who would you add for your team, whether you're an Eagles fan, whatever it may be. But let's keep this train rolling. And let's talk about that Eagles D-line situation. You saw a lot of those free agents there. So we'll take a look here. The Eagles, have some free agents here. You've got Cox, Hargrave, Linval Joseph, and Dominican Sue in the middle there, all free agents. And then the edge rusher we talk about in Robert Quinn. So definitely, I would love to have Hargrave back. The other guys, I don't think return. I would love Cox to return, but I think he still can get paid, and I think he'll do that elsewhere. You've heard the Browns, maybe he does that. But you see under contract with the edge rushers, got Barnett, Graham, you've got Jackson, Leo, Robinson, and look, Sweat, I love him, and I love that Brandon Graham came back. Let's go. But Derek Barnett, he was banged up, but as a rotational piece, okay, he's not getting paid that much. This will be his last year, I'm sure, but I think maybe you add another guy to compete in there. Again, I would look to the draft for that, but edge rusher, I feel good. I like what we have there. And then you see to the right there, Kyron Johnson, Patrick Johnson backing up Hassan Reddick. So depending on how, Sean Desai is going to use these guys, Sam linebackers obviously going to be used in multiple fronts here, but they'll be defensive ends as well. So we'll see, but I'm excited to see what Desai does with this defense. You see some guys that can play nose tackle. You've got defensive tackles still there. So as I said, very excited about Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Noah Ellis getting a chance. He was banged up from the preseason. So unfortunate. His brother, Christian Ellis, obviously made it to the active roster. So we'll see what he can do. Their brother, Caden Ellis, is a free agent. We'll talk about the linebackers here. Probably drop that video tomorrow. But you see Marvin Wilson there, D-tackle. Hopeful that maybe he can continue to develop. Would love to see what he's got. But the free agents, definitely, I know a lot of people concerned about it, but that's why the Eagles drafted. They have pieces already in place. And I think I'm still very excited about the D-line, front seven. And we'll talk about those linebackers, some free agents there too. But look, the Eagles definitely could add some pieces in free agency, but I myself would look to the draft. But let's take a gander at the top 5 free agent targets I would take for the defensive line. And again, I think my focus would be getting younger in the draft, but I picked out a few here, and we're going to start off with an edge rusher. And look, we'll start off with the edge rushers because I think that's less important than the D linemen. So I'll give you 2 edge rushers and then 3 D linemen that can, versatile guys regardless. Here, edge rusher Carl Nassib. Look, he's 29, out of Penn State, coming into his 8th year, but he's 6'7", 275. Still got some left in the tank. had a few sacks last year, only started one game, but he was a great depth piece. And that's what I'm looking for right here if I'm going to free agency. Not looking for any of the top guys, Frank Clark, anything like that. I think I'm looking more for someone that's a depth piece that can add to the rotation if I'm looking for an edge rusher. But I think over Carl Nassib, I would take Rasheem Green. He has familiarity when he was in Seattle with Sean Desai. So I think that, for me, actually, I don't know how much they cross over, but look, you guys know I liked this kid last year. And I think that giving him a shot here, why not, as a rotational piece, hasn't really he's a third round pick, so you can't say much, but in his 5 years hasn't done too much here. And I think he only had a few sacks last year. But for me, given the right opportunity as a rotational piece, maybe he, competes with Derek Barnett. So out of the free agent pool, wasn't too high on a lot of those backup kind of guys, those rotational pieces. So I'm very adamant about the fact that the Eagles should go in the draft for an edge rusher and an interior D lineman. So, and a versatile D lineman, and maybe even another big boy, but Jordan Davis is going to lock it down. So excited there. But let's go into the top three, and these are my D linemen, guys that can play a little D tackle, a little D end. Oh yeah, go from the 3 technique all the way to the 5, maybe even 6. I mean, you can move these guys across the line, and that's what I like to see. And look, 33 years old, Akeem Hicks, I know he's older, but if you're going to be losing Hargrave or Cox and you don't have that veteran depth, look, I love those guys. We have the young pieces, but I definitely want a veteran guy here. And this dude, he's a beast. He can stop the run. He can help you out in the rush. And I think that, he's been playing forever, Old Man River here, but I still like Akeem Hicks' game. And I think he's trying to get himself a ring. That's why he went to Tampa Bay. But I think I would, for the right price, take him on. Now, over Akeem Hicks, Matt Ioannidis, and this dude from Jersey went to Temple. And, this kid, I think that for me, 29 years old, he really has still got a lot left in the tank, a jack of all trades, man. And he can play all across those, and honestly, even 1 technique all the way to 6 technique, 17. I mean, this dude, I wouldn't really feel comfortable going past 5 or even really have him at 5 too much, but certain things you can do with him. I really love his game. 6'3", 310. He can really move. He can stop the run. Dude, he's a jack of all trades, like I said. And I think Matt Ioannidis would really add to this. And he was on Washington's team, for 6 years, I think, and then his 7th year there in Carolina. But I would happily take on Matt Ioannidis. Now, number 1, you're going to have to pay a little bit more for, but if you're going to pay for somebody, you lose those guys. You think it's important. This kid's versatile. You can move around the line with Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, Marlon Tuipulotu. You've obviously got your outside edge rushers in Sweat and Reddick and Graham. So got a lot of versatility. And I think this dude would definitely add to it. 6'4", 281. So obviously not too much of your, 3 to the 1 technique, too much of it inside. But I think you're looking at a kid that can line up outside of those numbers. And for me, I really would be happy to have Boston College 3rd round pick in 19. Dude, he's only 25 years old, Zach Allen. And I think, again, I'm focused on the draft for the Eagles, but this is a free agency show. So just wanted to go over. That was my top 5 free agents. But let me know what your top 5 or your top 10, top 20, top 3, whatever it may be. Who do you have here in free agency? What positions are you interested in? And we went through the entire offense. Go check that out. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, offensive line. Broke it all down. Now we're starting off with the D. I will drop the linebackers one tomorrow. And then, of course, the secondary as well. Later in the night, you'll get cornerbacks and safeties. So going to be filling you all up with that. And then Monday, it's legal tampering period. And then, of course, Wednesday, it technically starts on the 15th. But we'll see mayhem beginning on Monday. So I'll keep you up to date with everything happening for the Eagles and anything important within the division. So hope you enjoyed all of this content. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like button. It took me forever today, so sorry. I tried to talk as fast as I could, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Again, appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel, retweeting, doing whatever you're doing to support this channel. I cannot thank you enough. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. Have yourselves a great rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there. And as always, go Birds!